And so when I say Chinese, I want you to scream out the nation that's associated with this. For example, if I say Chinese, you're going to say what?
China.
All right, let's say it with authority. When I say Chinese, you say what? China. All right, that's just a test right there. So here we go. Chinese.
China.
Russian.
Russia.
Italian.
Italy.
German.
Germany.
Swedish.
Sweden.
Korean.
Korea.
Egyptian.
Egypt.
Nigerian.
Nigeria.
Black.
Nothing. Tell him, Pastor. Tell him, Pastor. Black, nothing.
I hope you were able to successfully identify the issue.
The lion won't sleep tonight, 'cause we woke now, and we woke now. I said the lion won't sleep tonight, 'cause we woke now, and we woke now. They want us to sell our souls to barter profit, like God's property. It's hard to market, so we steady to aim, keep your eyes on target. 'Cause when you got to drive, yeah, they'd rather you park it. But I don't valet, you ain't getting these keys. I'm keeping closed hands, I'm on bended knee. I'm just a reflection, dealing with 8 sections. Art mixed with life, you can feel the convection. Your lion won't sleep tonight, 'cause we woke now, and we woke now. I said the lion won't sleep tonight, 'cause we woke now, and we woke now. I said
The same people that have stripped us of our identity and labeled us as a color have told us what it means to be black and the vernacular that we're supposed to have.
We're finishing now part 2, chapter 2. And what we've said so far is that people have free will, and their actions are, some are good and some are evil. And by the way, the Rambam writes explicitly that everyone has some good actions and some bad actions. Everyone. Everyone. And he takes it for granted that there'll be a variety. We talked about the fact that this world and the next world are asymmetrical. The next world is where the majority of a person's actions, which determines identity, are compensated. For the righteous, they exist in the world to come and they're rewarded. And for those whose major complexion is black, are excluded from the world to come.
Martin Fucci לנסוע! את תנסוע עם פוצ'י! לכי את והוא! תלכי מפה! תלכי! את תנסוע עם פוצ'י! לכי! לא מתביישת!
Now, this may come as a surprise to you, but as many as 10,000 Jews served in the Confederate Army, and they served bravely. There was Adolf Proskauer, a recent immigrant from Poland who fought at Seven Pines, Chancellorsville, Gettysburg, and Spotsylvania. Wounded at least 3 times, he just couldn't kill this guy. Then there was Louis Leon, also a recent immigrant, this time from Germany, who was one of the few survivors from his brigade who fought at Gettysburg. Now, he was real hardcore, and 50 years after the battle, he had this to say in his memoirs: "I still say our cause was just, nor do I regret one thing that I have done to cripple the North." But there's one Confederate who in some ways topped them all. Judah Benjamin was born in the West Indies. grew up in South Carolina and made his way to New Orleans, where he also made his fortune as an innovative sugarcane plantation owner with 140 slaves.
For a little breaking news, we are also going to be restoring the names to Fort Pickett, Fort Hood, Fort Gordon, Fort Rucker, Fort Polk, Fort A.P. Hill, and Fort Robert E. Lee. They don't pay rent, the city doesn't have money. It's a chain of events that's so bad. One rough hour, and I mean real rough, the word will get out and it will end immediately. End immediately. You know, it'll end immediately. We are the party of common sense. I knew that once they had open borders, all of the countries, I didn't think about all over the world. I thought in South America, it's all over the world. Last week, a lot of people came in from the Congo, a big prison in the Congo in Africa. Welcome to the United States. They came in from the Congo. They came in from the Congo. They came in from the Congo.
And you know what else, Jim? I just want to say this to our Christian friends, you know, just to call it as it is and say it straight out, you know, you guys are worshiping one Jew. That's a mistake. You should be worshiping every single one of us, because we all die for your sins every single day. And that's exactly what's going on here. Yeah. We're all God's firstborn, and we're dying for your sins right now because the Jewish people in the land of Israel are the bulwark against the orcs. Okay? The orcs are coming not to a theater near you, but to your home.
Planned Parenthood was made by Margaret Sanger, a known eugenics, with the KKK to control the Jew population. When I say Jew, I mean the 12 lost tribes of Judah, the blood of Christ, who the people known as the race black really are.
Hitler was, and the Nazis, of course, expanded on Margaret Sanger's approach to eugenics, right? Eugenics was a movement that was born in the United States under hard doctrines of racism with the intent of eliminating the tribe of Judah in the African-American community in this country, right? To eliminate them.
The entire Bible is about black people. Not only was Jesus black, but every character in the Bible seems to be black too. Yeah, Zephaniah and Jeremiah and Jebediah, those all aren't white people names, okay? And Jesus wasn't some tan, partially melanated Middle Eastern person either. I'm talking straight up black dude, okay? Even in the book of Revelation, when you get the vision of Daniel, he's describing someone with feet like burnt brass and white woolly hair, and we've got the deep running water voice with the red eyes, and you guys, he's black. The Jewish people are black people, like Kanye was right.
Of course I hate these people, and let's all hate these people, because maybe hate is what we need if we're going to get something done.
And Israel's Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
A partnership between Israel's Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Friends of Zion Museum led to the unprecedented visit.
It's the first time in history the State of Israel has officially partnered with 1,000 strategic pastors to commission them as ambassadors to combat anti-Semitism and reach the youth of their generation.
Dr. Mike Evans says Israel's fight is not just on the battlefield.
Right now there's an ideological war that Israel's losing. So they need the evangelicals, they need the Zionists to fight an ideological war.
One of the goals of this gathering is to strengthen Christian support during a time of growing global anti-Semitism. They say the pulpit must speak louder than the propaganda.
The largest ever U.S. delegation to Israel just took place. 250 state legislators from all 50 states arrived Monday for an event called 50 States, One Israel. They planted 50 trees at a site of the October 7th attacks and met with Israeli leaders. Netanyahu's office called it the biggest bipartisan visit of American lawmakers to Israel. Foreign Minister Gideon Sa'ar urged them to push anti-BDS laws in their states, which are meant to discourage boycotts of Israel. So far, 38 states have already adopted such measures. Sa'ar described BDS as part of a coordinated global effort against Israel, saying the best response has been anti-BDS legislation. But the trip's timing sparked controversy. The very next day, the UN ruled for the first time that Israel is committing genocide in Gaza, while Israel relaunched its ground invasion of Gaza City. And despite its scale and timing, this massive visit has barely been covered by international media. Only local Israeli outlets reported on it, leaving many to question why such a major event went largely unnoticed.
Genesis chapter 11, verse 10 explains the genealogy of Shem. Shem was a black man in Africa. If you repeat this fact, they can't laugh at you. If you repeat this fact, they can't laugh at you. If you repeat this fact, they can't laugh at you.
I want to say peace and blessings to you guys. Hope and pray that all is well with you guys. Man, there's so much going on right now. Let me see if I can adjust my my camera here. There's so much going on right now. So much that is going on right now. And this, the things that we see happening right now, it really brings Deuteronomy 28 to life that much more, reiterating the perpetual consequences that we see listed in Deuteronomy 28, right? And for some of you guys that may not be familiar with it, Deuteronomy 28 does not list any curses, right? The curses is listed in Deuteronomy chapter 27. Chapter 28 is a continuation of chapter 27. And it begins with the blessings, right? So you have the curses, the blessings, and then from verse 15 on down to verse 68, then you get into the consequences. So the proper term or word for this category or these group of scriptures, these group of passages, is consequences, not curses. You know, but I can understand in the confusion, the mix up, why many would label or call these consequences curses. I totally get it. I understand. But just to give you clarity, the curses is listed in chapter 27. Again, chapter 28, continuation of chapter 27, the blessings, and then it continues with the consequences. All right. But family, there is so much going on. And I may even have to go upstairs if need be, because I've been teaching about the ninth hour. I did a teaching 2 years ago about the ninth hour. Even I've been teaching it longer than that, but I did a teaching on this channel here about the ninth hour. And I can tell you, we are in the ninth hour. You know, when you start really going into certain spaces, when you start getting certain responses. When I say they are coming for us, family, I'm not trying to scare anyone, but it's the facts. They are coming for us. They are coming for us. Don't fall into any delusion, any traps from anyone from within this community, from within brothers and sisters, whether they're in this awakening or in the church, whatever. If they try to tell you that the Republicans never did anything wrong to us, the Republicans have our best interest. Don't fall for them if they tell you the Democrats have our best interests. Don't fall for them if they try to tell you any of these political systems or any of these educational institutions that are created by man, any of these religious institutions, right? Because they're created by man. Don't believe them if they tell you that. Flee from them. See, there's certain conversations many avoid. I'm not scared to have those conversations about the 1948ers. So what happened? I was going to put together some screenshots to show you. I left my phone upstairs. But what happened? I did scheduled a premiere. Some of you guys probably witnessed it Thursday night, right? And while the video was premiering, over an hour into the video, YouTube took it down. Family, I kid you not. YouTube took it down, and when I looked into the information on it, I get a notification and it says that because the video is promoting hate speech. So I went to look at the information and said that I can dispute it, right? And when I went to go dispute it, and I went to look at the marker, it was like the 1 hour and 2 minute marker of the video. The video is Kanye West. You guys know I done played this clip so many times, have it in so many different videos. The clip is of Kanye West stating that he did not know that saying that the 1948ers, is his lawyer, doctor, whatever the case may be. And then he began to read from the anti-Semitic so-called laws, reading it verbatim. And they called that hate speech and took the video down. And then they gave me an option to appeal because I was going to write it out. I was going to type up, hey, Kanye West is reading from a government website verbatim on what anti-Semitism is. It's a working definition, a working document, meaning that it can change whenever it changes. They have the power to change it. They have the power to make it whatever they want it to be. So when I clicked on it to hit the appeal, instead of taking me to like it would normally do to allow me to enter a statement of dispute, it just simply said that my appeal was submitted and that they will review it. And then within 20 minutes, they came back and denied it. Now that's not where it stopped at. Then hours later, they canceled my Cash App. They said because the activities goes against policies, company policies. I'll tell you, family, I got the screen prints, the whole nine. I call them up and I'm like, what policies? I said, hey, people have sent me gifts. It's not like I got tens of thousands of dollars of gifts there. I said, people have sent me gifts. And mind you, it was what, about $1,200 overall? They, when I called them, could not give me an answer. I said, what guidelines? Tell me what the guidelines are. Tell me what community guidelines it violated. They couldn't. Then I get an email stating that if my account is not back up, basically they were supposedly bring my account back up. If my account is not back up, within a week or two, whatever, if I'm still having issues, notify them. And guess what? It's still blocked. Family, I'm telling you, when you hitting on certain things, when you're touching on certain things, when you're hitting on certain things that truly they don't want you to know or talk about, to discuss. Remember, even a week prior to that, Remember my response I shared with you guys about the Lego videos? That's not who you think is behind it. And what happened? I told you I got 2 flags trying to bring strikes against me. Right? And because that didn't work, then I get the 1948ers trying to flag me and had a video taken down and tried to give me a strike off of this clip right here. And yes, I'm going to show this clip right here. This is a clip of Netanyahu meeting with the Rebbe. Remember this clip right here, family? Fair use. This clip right here. Fair use. Again, fair use. Right? I got flagged for that. Family, see, contrary to what many want to say, contrary to what many of you guys may believe, I know I ruffle a lot of feathers. I'm cool with that because I'm going to have those discussions that many of our brothers and sisters are afraid to have. See, they want us to have discussions, get caught up in it, like with those Lego videos. You guys remember the question I brought up was like, wait a minute. Technically, those videos are anti-Semitic videos, according to the anti-Semitic laws, right? But why are those videos still up? Come on, family. I could pick apart that whole thing. Deuteronomy 28 reiterates the crafty counsel. So I'm going to say this to you guys, my brothers and sisters. If you want to support the platform, if you want to contribute to what we do here, I have a Patreon account. I haven't been on there in a little while, but some of you guys have been on there. I haven't really been promoting it or anything like that. But if you do want to support what we're doing here, just join the Patreon account and I'll start making it a point to get more active on it because so much is going on. I've been doing a lot. We just honored Pasach this weekend. For those that may not understand what Pasach is, that's the Hebrew, the ancient pronunciation of the word Passover, where the word Passover comes from, is Pasach. I know many of you guys may say Pesach. The actual ancient Hebrew pronunciation of it is Pasach. That is the primitive root word. But we had a great time. We had a great time today, right? But, you know, the enemy is mad at us. Now, why am I going here? You see what's on the screen here? Let me zoom it in here. Basically, the Voting Rights Act has been basically gutted. It's just a paper. It's just paper. That's all it is. Right? Now, I know some of you guys will say, hey, what are you talking about? You know, I don't vote. Family, y'all better grab hold of this. We got to get our heads out of the sand. I'm not here to promote you, encourage you to vote. I'm not encouraging you not to vote. You need to know what's going on here. I know some of you guys, you know, and I understand it. I get it. You may not roll with Candace Owens because of some of the things she said about our community, with George Floyd and some of the other things. I'm with you on that. But I've been playing her videos because she's been going in at the 1948ers. We got to give it credit. She's doing something that I haven't seen any of the platforms within our community do. She's been going in hard on the 1948ers. And just so happened, she did a video, and I uploaded the video here, some clips from it, how in the House of Representatives, they are actually working on a House resolution, a hate speech law with her name on it. Come on, family. You got to understand this, family. So there you are making it so that way, if you say anything about this community, it's hate crime. It's a hate law. It's a hate speech, rather. Hate speech law. And they are coming for each and every one of us. They want us to stay in a certain position. Whether you vote or not, you still have to understand what is going on around you. You still need to know what's going on in your local government. If you own a house, you need to know what's going on. Even if you don't own a house, you pay taxes, you work a 9 to 5, or if you have a business, you still have to pay taxes. If you homeschool, you still have to abide by what? The educational system, the standard that of training your child from home. You still have governmental standards that monitor what you do. So you need to know what's going on around you. And I know many will say, hey, the Democrats, man, the Democrats and the Republicans are evil, period. What you see in the Republican Party is the people from the Democrats, right? Those racist people, when they saw how our people were really flooding, going into transitioning over to supporting the Democrats, those people transitioned over to the Republican Party. That's a fact. The Democrats enslaved our people. Republicans enslaved our people. The difference is the Republicans, they decided to grow a conscience. But Abraham Lincoln, in his own words, said that he did not care about our plight. He made it clear. He did not care about us. He did not look at us as being equal. But guess what? When he issued that declaration, that proclamation, when he declared that, when he put that out there, it had nothing to do with freeing us. It had everything to do to save the Union. Everything to do with save the Union. That Emancipation Proclamation had nothing to do with our plight, but everything to do with their plight. And you think slavery ended then? Slavery is still on the books up until 2013. Come on, family. 2013. These people, these 1948ers, look at what they did. They hijacked the civil rights. They even have a DEI. They railed against DEI. And again, most of us didn't even know what DEI was. I didn't start hearing about DEI until about a year ago. I'm like, what is DEI? I know they have diversity at your workplace. You have to have diversity training, but I never heard of DEI. And what happened? Put our face on it, railed against it. Now they have DEI for the 1948ers. Why am I going here? When I say they, this country just reverted back to the Jim Crow laws. Reverted back to the Jim Crow laws, period. Think about all the attacks that they've been making. Think about all the things that they've been changing. Whose face that they've been placing on it, putting on the front of their agendas. They now are looking at saying that, hey, you know what? They are looking at welfare, right? Targeting our community, but they went off the data that came out of the Republican communities, right? The Republican states. And they said that, hey, they see that people that's on welfare have cars like, what do you say, Escalades and Porsches, and they need to investigate why these people that are on welfare driving these nice cars. And then when they actually pulled the data, it was in all Republican territories. You see how I'm telling you, family, they are coming for us. They are coming for us. I warned our community about the purge. What we see is a purge. What you see happening with this administration It is nothing more than what the 1948ers have been doing. That is Netanyahu's playbook, period. That is the 1948ers playbook, period. Did you guys see his 60 Minutes interview after the situation at the correspondence dinner? When they asked him about, hey, some people believe that this may be, it may be a hoax. It may be, conspiracy is floating around about this. He said, oh, they have conspiracies going on about the Holocaust. They have conspiracies going on about who control the media. He began to default to the 1948ers. He could have easily brought up 911. Hey, what happened at 911? Yeah, conspiracy about 911. He brought up the very things that defaults to the 1948ers. Family, I'm here to tell you, please don't put your trust in any of these people. I know some of our brothers and sisters, I've seen it in many places, in many spaces. Hey, look, he really do love our people. Look, he did this for Omarosa. Look, he did this for Kanye. Look, he did X, Y. Come on, family. The slave masters were sleeping with our ancestors, sleeping with the men and women, raping them. I'm not going to say sleeping with them like it was a consensual relationship. They were raping the men. They were raping the women. They were raping the children. But they still were selling us. They were still abusing us. They was doing all kinds of things. Anyway, family, it is real out here. Let's unpack a couple of things. All right. And this guy right here is a complete joke. He is a complete joke. All of them are, but this guy is a complete joke. Not going to get into it all, but he's a complete joke. All right. So look at this here. This makes me think of Harry Belafonte, what we see going on right now. Right? Because remember what Harry Belafonte shared. Look at what let me let you listen to it for yourself. Let me so you guys listen with your own ears and you can assess it. All right. Let me play this here. Let me actually, I think it'll work. Let me know if you guys can hear this. This is Harry Belafonte. This his testament about Martin Luther King, his regrets.
For a little breaking news, we are also going
to fast forward
be
here.
Restoring the name.
Now let's make. All right, this is it right here. All right, peep this out, family. Peep this out. And yes, we're gonna have trolls, moderators. You guys know what to do with the trolls. You know what I mean? The trolls gonna show up. We're not gonna entertain them. Right? Bring attention. Keep trolling, because guess what? In spite of what these people have done and continue to try to do to this platform, we're going to continue to teach this truth. We're going to continue to get the word out. We've been dealing with all kinds of opposition. You guys probably noticed you haven't seen a single short on this channel. Why? Because I can't do shorts on this channel, period. They got that blocked. You notice that I don't do any pre-schedule, or should I say pre-scheduled premieres, upload a video and schedule it to premiere in advance. Why? Because that function don't work on here. They treat it like a regular upload. They have done everything to suppress this channel, and we still made it to the numbers that we've made it to, and now they are trying to come up with another way. But anyway, let's get back over to this. Listen to Harry Belafonte. Listen to what he says about what Martin Luther King, the regrets that Martin Luther King shared with him. All right. Let's see here. Let me go ahead and play it here.
The rape of my family has never been this complete, except perhaps in the time of slavery itself, when we were ripped out of Africa and we were separated.
Fair use.
Families. But the second largest wave of dismantling of the black family now sits in this part of the 20th century, moving into the 21st. The last thing Dr. King ever said to me 5 days, as a matter of fact, before he was murdered, was he was at my home. We had just finished a strategy meeting on the Poor People's Campaign. And he seemed quite agitated after what we thought was a very successful gathering and discussion. And he said to me, I said, what's the matter, Martin? You seem very agitated. He said, well, I am. Because I've come upon a thought that I don't know how to deal with at this moment. I said, well, what is it? He says, we fought long for integration. It looks like we're going to get it. I think we get the laws. He says, but I'm afraid that I've come upon something I don't know quite what to do with. I'm afraid that we're integrating into a burning house. And when we asked for further clarification, Andy Young was with me at that time, my wife, others. He said, America's lost whatever little moral vision it had. Its moral sense has run away from the nation. And a nation that is not governed by morality and moral principles is a nation that's headed for an abyss. And I think black people have been struggling to get into this system. They've been getting into a system that in the final analysis is a Sodom and Gomorrah. Will not work because its selfish goals, its need for profit, its need for supremacy, its need to be the best has clouded its moral vision.
All right, we're going to stop right there. I know you guys said that the volume is low. I thought I had an updated copy of it. Let me turn this down. I thought I had an updated copy of this video. I can't turn the volume up because of they don't allow you to turn up the volume on, unfortunately, videos that's done through that's streamed this way. Let me check one more thing here to make sure. All right, let me see if there's a. Yeah, there's no volume button on here. Let me look at the presentation view. Yeah, I they don't have one on here. But basically what he's saying is that Martin Luther King have regrets, and he stated that he believed that he's leading our people into a burning building. Right? That's what he stated. He believes that he led our people into a burning building. All right. Why? Why did he feel that way? Why did he feel that way about leading our people to want to integrate, to get away from the very things that was taking place? What was taking place, Pastor? What most of you guys may not be aware of, during desegregation, our community, the average household of education was like 2 years, 2 years of college. It's either 1 year or 2 years of college. That was a much higher level of education within our community during segregation. The dollar circulated in our community for 5 and 6 months at a time. Now the dollar doesn't even circulate for 4 hours. We had, of course, the issues, the challenges trying to do certain things outside of it. We already know that. But they won't tell you that we were prospering. We were doing much better than the average community. That's why you see so many of our communities were burned down, over three dozen. But what they did to us right now is the dirty dime versus the shiny nickel. You guys remember the example I use from time to time, the analogy of two brothers the baby brother and his older brother there, had their money. The baby brother was playing around with his dirty dime. His older brother saw that and was like, "Hey, I trade you my shiny nickel for your dirty dime." And his brother was like, the baby brother was like, "Oh no, I want to keep my dirty dime." He said, "Hey, look, your dirty dime is dirty. It's smaller than my shiny nickel." And because of that, the baby brother decided to trade. He didn't know what he was doing. He didn't realize what he had done until the mother took them to the store. They're at the store, and the mother said, "You guys got your own money. Go ahead and get you a freeze pop." So both of them grabbed a freeze pop. The older brother went and gave that dirty dime to the cashier. Then the baby brother went to do the same thing with his shiny nickel. And he was told that he didn't have enough money. And that's when he realized that his big brother played a trick on him, scammed him. But the mother told him that that's his problem because she's been telling him he need to learn how to count his money. That's what they did with us. The dirty dime versus the shiny nickel. You see it all around this family. You have the 1948ers. We already know the deal with them. We know what they have done, right? We know hijacking an identity that don't belong to them. And now they created a religion. They created everything you see is manufactured. Now they have people, even brothers and sisters within this community, chasing behind them as if they are the standard, pumping themselves on the chest because they can read the Israeli language, which is not biblical or ancient Hebrew at all. I done proved that a number of times, and we'll do a special live on that. I'll get back into some of those things. This so-called Hebrew, Oxford makes it clear. Oxford Linguist makes it clear that this is not, or it should ever be called Hebrew at all. What it is, as they labeled it, an Israeli language. But what happened? You got brothers and sisters pumping themselves on the chest because they can read Israeli language with dots, or should I say the Nukud system, that did not exist until the 9th century. No matter how much you teach it, or I've taught it, that there was no O sound in ancient Hebrew. There was no U sound in ancient Hebrew. No matter how much I do that, which makes me question what's behind many of our brothers and sisters when you show them this truth. Y'all, you guys know what I'm talking about, family? You know what I mean? I know I have to play this video from time to time, but I got teachings for those that don't know this. But let me let you hear something real quick.
Here's a chart that summarizes vowel class and length. You can see across the top the three classes, e, and oo. And then down the side, the four lengths, long, medium, short, and very short. So let's just go over this chart. We'll start with the A class vowels. The long vowel is cholam vav, and you'll recall that this says O as in snow. Now you might wonder why an O vowel is in the A class, and this is because of historical considerations. Originally there was no O sound in Hebrew.
Come on, family. Who won come test? Who won come test? I got receipts upon receipts upon receipts. But yet and still, what do? I'm not trying to knock any of you guys. Was it did the echo stop? Because I stopped the echo. If you guys need to hear it again, I could play it again. All right. Let me know if I need to play it again. All right. The U sound, the U vowel comes from the O. Let me say that again. The U comes from the O. So when you say Yahuwah, that's not the ancient pronunciation of his name. When you say Yahweh, that's not the ancient pronunciation of his name. When you say Yehovah, that's not the ancient pronunciation of his name. But I'm not going to go, continue on with that because I don't want to, that's a whole nother discussion. But I'm pointing this out, family, to let you know that so many of our people, at least I give Martin Luther King credit. At least I give some of the people credit back at that time. At least they was trying to take a stand. Even though he admitted to his friend Harry Belafonte that he think he may have made a mistake. Now we don't see any of that happening right now. We just letting anything go. Why? Because we believe that all we have to do is just sit and don't respond. The Most High is going to just come and swoop and take care of us. No, we have to show up at the battlefield. But the question is, most of us don't even understand what a battlefield is. It's beyond social media. It's beyond your computer. And I'm going to say this because I know I see a comment mentioning the bulle. Let me just say this. We cannot label bulle on everything. Martin Luther King was not a bulle because he was in the secret. I mean, he was in the fraternities, but we can't just label bulle on everything. And I'm not even going to do that. I'm not going to let us continue to throw that stuff out there. I understand the whole history of the bulle, but let's not make it. Let's not continue to run with this rhetoric of when it comes to our people. Oh, bulle, Martin Luther King, bulle. How many people truly, as you want to say, bulle, is going to lay their life down like that? Martin Luther King started this at like 23, 24 years old. How many of you at the age of 23, 24 years old were even thinking about doing the things that he had done? Come on, I want to challenge you guys. I know I wasn't. I wasn't thinking about that. I was all about just got paid Friday night, party shaking, make it right. I was all about groove me. I was all about gotta have house music. I was all about that. But how many of us at that age was thinking about things at that level, at that layer? Come on, family. And I'm not trying to, ridicule. I'm not trying to not rebuke anyone. But I just want to make it clear. Put yourself in his shoes at that age. How many of you guys would do that? I'm just being real with you guys. I wasn't thinking about any of that at that age. Sister Carol, shout outs to you. Peace and blessings.
Peace and blessing, my brother. Couldn't find my mute button. Continue on.
And we're just dealing, touching on a little bit of what happened with the voting rights bill and some of the other things. And for me, it's just letting the people know that they are coming for us. They've been coming for us, but this is all a setup towards us.
Yep, bottom line.
Don't just downplay it, family, by just saying, well, I don't vote. Come on, family. It's more to it. I just read that, let's just say, for those that are receiving disability, right? Let's just say you're living with a relative outside of your spouse. They're trying to now say that if you do live with a relative and you on disability, they're going to cut your disability. They're going to reduce it. That's what they're now in the works right now. They've put a freeze on the post office pension. You guys already know they cut Medicaid, they cut Social Security, but yet what happened? The millionaires, the billionaires got their tax breaks. They sent $40 billion to Argentina and then allowed them to sell their bad meat here, meat that China outlawed because they putting all kinds of chemicals in. And let me leave that alone. Sister Kara, any comments?
You said a whole bunch of stuff. I don't know where to begin, but it's a lot. It's a lot going on. It's so much. They're tearing down and making it look like it's something else, but it's really about you situation. And we need to be conscious of it. It's not about your vote. That's the least of your concerned. It's about your job. It's about your household. It's about your children. It's about everything that goes around you that makes your life go forward that they want to take away from you. And you need to be conscious of it and look and see what's happening around you. They're not playing.
And Sister Kara, you remember, it's all good measure, man. It's all good. I see your post. You're good. But Sister Carol, am I right? Have I not been warning our community about the purge?
Oh, yeah. You did a whole series on it about, what, 2-3 years ago.
And was running it over and over
Yeah.
again.
Yeah. When the current sitting president was walking in the door.
Yeah.
That was 18?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did it in 8 back in that. And man, it's
Yeah.
amazing. We've been going that long, right? And his
Yeah.
initial administration, I shared it with there because he was some of the things you see he's doing now, he was doing there. We railed against Joe Biden. Remember with the whole the things he was doing? And then guess what? When Trump was before he got before the election, I was railing against that he's going to do a purge. And many of our brothers and sisters like, oh, he's just targeting the Mexicans. He's just targeting the Spanish. It's like, no, you guys missing it. He's targeting our community.
Yep.
And we got this tendency like, oh, that's they targeting them over there. Not us. No, whenever they target a community, they got to test it out on someone. Remember we said this, Sister Kara, even the stuff that's happening overseas, the Palestinian, that whole situation, that is all that is a test for what they're going to do here.
Exactly.
To our people. A lot of you guys don't even know this, but you know this, Sister Carol. Remember, North Carolina 2 years ago had to cancel out contracts with the 1948ers teaching their police force because they were being overly aggressive.
Yep.
Family, it is real out here. So why am I bringing up Deuteronomy 28? Why am I bringing up Deuteronomy 28 and more specifically Deuteronomy 28:68? Let's touch on this a little bit here. This is Carrie. You know how we do. Feel free to jump in anytime.
Okay.
All right. Now, family, you guys already know this. Some of you guys may already know this. This is the Star Spangled Banner, right? But this is the third stanza. This is the part you don't hear. Right? So I grew up, I was told not to sing the Star Spangled Banner. I was told that when I go to school, right, stand, but don't salute the flag. Just stand at attention, out of respect. But family, that's what I want to make sure you guys understand. That was for a reason. Look at this here. And I even did videos on this. Remember, we did this years ago, Sister Carol, on this here as well.
Yes.
This is the third stanza. Their blood has washed out their foul footsteps, pollutant. No refuge could save the hireling and slave. Now we see hireling family that's dealing with indentured servitude, but no refuge could save the hireling and slave from the terror of flight or the gloom of the grave. And the star-spangled banner in triumph doeth wave. So it's making it clear about how they feel about our community. They making it clear, even in that song, the Star Spangled Banner, they made it clear that they was going to hunt us down. But this is another song. I'm not going to read it. I mean, I'm not going to say it because of how YouTube is flagging. Look at this sheet music, family. Y'all remember 13 years a slave? Was it 13 years a slave, Sister Carol?
12 years a slave.
12 years a slave. I gotta add I gotta put the bad luck in there, right? I'm that one person
13 years.
always gotta do extra, right? I gotta do extra. Gotta add, how you did 227 years of
Lord, it's been 13 years. We don't like that number 13. No, no, sir. The bad number 13.
Now, family, look at this on the screen. Look at this on the screen.
And that's Bad Boys, Bad Boys.
I was going to say that. They remixed it and made it to Bad Boys. What you gone? They changed it to that. Look at this. Oh, some tell me that a N-word, I'm going to say it that way, family, because of what they're doing here. Oh, some tell me that a N-word won't steal. But I've seen a N-word in my cornfield. Oh, run, N-word, run, for the patrol will catch you. Oh, run, N-word, run, for 'tis almost day. Remember, Sister Carol, I got the actual audio of an old audio.
And playing the banjo.
Like, run, N-word, run. I mean, literally.
Run. Some tell me that N-word won't steal. Yep.
Family, but where I'm getting at, family, this stuff is real. See what they said with the with the whole redistricting thing that they just the Voting Rights Act, the last little bit of it, they basically said you cannot redistrict or gerrymander based off of race unless you have proof. And they done made it so that way, unless you can prove that someone says they're doing XYZ because they don't like N-words, you can't do anything. Come on, family. We already know just systemic racism, that in itself. But it's the bigger thing that we have to pay attention to, family. Anyway, Deuteronomy 28, 49 and 50. Verse 49 and 50. Look at this here. Yahweh shall bring a nation against thee from far from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth. A nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. A nation of fierce countenance. And it says, which shall not regard the person of old, nor show favor to the young. Are we not seeing that right now? They cutting all kinds of things, targeting our community, whether you old or young, right? This is tying into, I believe it's Isaiah chapter 28, when Isaiah was warning the Israelites, right? And they basically was like, hey, I'm paraphrasing. You don't have to talk to us like we're babies. You don't have to talk to us like we're kids. And then the prophetic word came saying, hey, you know what? The Most High is going to bring this truth to you in what? Stammering tongues. Now, unfortunately, the Christian Catholic Church of today, especially when you start dealing with the Pentecostal movement, and they've taken that into making it into some Babylon stuff. That's not what the passage is stating. It's saying that the Most High since you rejected this truth, the Most High is going to use the language of your oppressors, the language that you're not familiar with, going to use that language to bring his truth to you. Each and every one of us learned the truth in what language?
Foreign language.
A foreign language.
Mm-hmm.
A language that was foreign to us. And the English language, even though this is something we grew up with here, is the hardest language to learn around the world.
Absolutely.
Why? Because it's filled with ambiguity. So it says, let me go back here. It says, Yahweh shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand, a nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young. Right? And this is the Tanakh, right? Of the same passages. Yahweh will bring a nation against you from afar, from the end of the earth, which will swoop down like the eagle, a nation whose language you do not understand, a ruthless nation that will show the old no regard and the young no mercy, even though it goes on with 50, verse 51 is here. Right? It shall devour the offspring of your cattle and the produce of your soil until you have been wiped out. Come on, family. They are literally, you see right now. Well, some of you guys may not know this, but I posted videos on this. Gerrymandering is more to what you guys think it is. Gerrymandering is part of stealing deeds is part of the process. There's a major uproar that's happening in New York right now.
Yes, I saw that.
Of the 1948ers stealing people deeds. It's happening right now. Go ahead, Sister Carol.
And using the NYPD to do it with it.
Exactly. Because one of the 1948ers are one of the chief, I think it's the chief of police or whatever of New York.
And remind you now, they have their own
a billionaire.
Well. Right.
Repeat that again, Sister Carol. I'm sorry.
I said, and the 1948ers had their own police as well, outside the NYPD.
Exactly. Revelation chapter 17, family, verse 14 through 16. These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is Adonaiah, and King of Kings, Malak. And they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful. Now, on the surface, when you deal with the church, they'll add the ambiguity to make you think that it's dealing with them. No, this is dealing with Israel. This is dealing with the Israelites who's following the Messiah. Right? Look at this here. And he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the whore sitteth, are peoples, multitudes, nations, and tongues. Wait a minute. Family, this is the transatlantic world war. Family, it's right in your face. They done programmed us to be preparing for the Great Tribulation. The Great Tribulation been here, and guess what? The Great Tribulation, we done transitioned out of the Great Tribulation. I done taught this over and over again. We're in another time of affliction. Christ even said, after the tribulation has ended. And then he began to talk about another mourning period. But anyway, it says, and he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the whore sitteth, are peoples, multitudes, and nations, and tongues. Now, when we go back to Deuteronomy, right? Let's go back to Deuteronomy 28:29. Yahweh shall smite thee with madness and blindness and astonishment of heart. And thou shalt grope at noonday, as the blind gropeth, in darkness, and thou shalt not prosper in thy ways, and thou shalt be only oppressed and spoiled evermore, and no man shall save thee. All right, let's break this down. Cognitive dissonance. I know you guys heard that word before. Y'all heard this psychological condition issue that we have with our community. What is cognitive dissonance, right? And Sister Carol, feel free to, this is your area. Anytime you want to jump in, feel free to jump in.
Absolutely.
But to make it plain, family, contradictory behavior. I'm just going to make it plain. Contradictory behavior. What is contradictory behavior, family? Being programmed to say that you're going to pray for the person that just murdered your family member. Remember that crazy stuff we saw in Texas? When the guy got gunned down in his own apartment by that police officer, and she got treated better than I'm pretty confident, better than the brother, man, that got killed by his own family.
Yeah.
You see the in the courtroom, you got the sheriff or the bailiff, whatever, is fixing her hair. The judge give her a Bible. The brother say, can I give her a hug? You know, the father come out and say, I forgive her. I forgive
her.
And yes,
Already.
she's appealing. She's still trying to appeal right now.
And they helping her appeal. From what I understand. The same family.
Family. If you study the murder laws in Numbers, you'll see someone that is called the Redeemer. If you understand what a Redeemer is, no, not Redeemer, Revenger, right? A Revenger is the person, the next of kin, or the person that's that of authority. If anything happened to a relative, that person is supposed to what? Have or go out and seek justice for that loved one. You are responsible to do that. Not sit back and say, "Oh, we're gonna pray." No.
Well, they're not true Texans. They were from some other. I think they were from the Caribbean or somewhere. I forgot where they were
I
from.
don't know. I don't care about who.
But they ain't no Texans. Because Texans
I
don't
don't
play
care if
that.
they from.
We
You
don't
know
play
what,
that.
sis? I don't care because for me, it's still like they still look like us. It's still part of the
Yeah, they look
community.
like us, but they just is warped in the brain.
I'm just saying that, but you
Oh,
still
yeah.
got people
I know.
that still do that, even in Texas, even in Jersey.
Oh,
I'm
I
not
know.
saying all that still have
Oh,
this contradictory behavior.
I got you.
You know what I mean? But I understand your point. But the point I'm making is, no matter where we are, whether we here, whether we overseas, you got Africa.
Oh yeah, that part.
You got people over there kissing
the statue
of white baby
Jesus.
father Jesus.
Yes.
And
will fight you.
Murder you.
Behind
Exactly.
it.
You saw what happened to the IUIC trying to teach that Christ looked like us over there. You heard about what happened.
Yep. And they love Catholicism to the heart and will fight you behind it.
And unfortunately, even here, you see our brothers and sisters love Christianity more than anything.
Oh, yeah.
Contradictory behavior. Christ said, love your neighbor, taking Christ's words out of the proper context. But as you see here, cognitive dissonance, to keep it simple, contradictory behavior. As you see here, behaviors are contradictory. When a person learns new information that challenges a deeply held belief. For example, and just give me some examples here, but it says it acts in a way that seems to undercut her self-image. The theory of cognitive dissonance helps explain the lengths to which people sometimes go to account for thought, words, and behaviors that seem to clash. All right. But let's look at this right here. Inconsistencies in our mind. I like that right there.
And my favorite is whenever we have a war. Remember the Ukraine war. What did everybody do? So putting the little Ukraine flags in their profile pictures. And then when Israel was going through, they started putting the Israel flags in their profile. I'm like, what in the world is going on? That
Remember
just
some of the
show
brother
you,
men decided to go over there to
yeah,
fight
to help
and got to
fight.
root them away when they got there.
got spit on and all kind of stuff happened to them. Yeah, it's what we do.
Another one, Stockholm Syndrome.
Oh my
So we
favorite.
dealt with contradictory behavior with cognitive dissonance, but Stockholm Syndrome, right? The psychological tendency of a hostage to bond with, identify with, or sympathize with his or her captor. You know how it goes, family?
Mm-hmm.
We good at this. The church, religion promotes Stockholm Syndrome. And I
Mm-hmm.
tend to bring this up from time to time. One of the craziest things that I witnessed growing up in the church that left a bad taste in my mouth, you have a young girl that have gotten pregnant by, let's just say, one of the ministers, one of the deacons, couldn't keep their hands to themselves, got a young girl pregnant, the girl 15, 14 years old, have a baby. Now they bring that girl up in front of the church. Now she have to basically rededicate herself. And they call it out in front of the church. And what happens is you never see that girl again. But they never call out the guy.
Mm-mm-mm.
That's Stockholm Syndrome, family, to victimize the perpetrator
Mm-hmm.
and demonize criminalize the actual victim. And we as a people been dealing with that. How they've been portraying us in the media. With many of our brothers and sisters that have been murdered by the police officers, they are demonized by media. Oh, such and such had a bad. He was rough. He had this criminal thing. He had this and this and that. But then you look at some of these guys that have shot up schools. Oh, he just had it rough. Well, his parents divorced, and he just had it hard. He was a really good kid.
His mental problems, and he's going to see a psychotherapist to help him.
Remember, he was on medication
Yeah,
that
he doesn't
causes
take. Yes,
with the
and
Las Vegas shooter
oh
that
yeah, he was on
killed all those
medication.
people.
Hmm.
He was on medication.
And he stopped taking it for a while, and we didn't know. We're sorry. Forgive
So
us.
so family, do religion promote these behaviors? Absolutely. Y'all remember this back in 2020? Mother of man paralyzed after Wisconsin police. I've already forgiven.
Oh yeah.
What? In my DMX voice, what? I've already forgiven, and this forgiveness is not for everybody but God and me. And to love our neighbors. And if we do that will X out all of this madness. Oh my goodness. Let me give you another
Mm-mm-mm.
behavior, family. Herd behavior. We
Mm.
see a lot of herd behavior in
Mm.
this awakening and outside of this awakening. So you take Stockholm Syndrome, multiply it by cognitive dissonance,
Mm.
and divide it into herd behavior.
Mm.
This is what we're dealing with. This is the storm, the perfect storm that that's been hacked into our spirits. Herd behavior. This is herd behavior, family. What is the cause of herd behavior? Herd behavior refers to the behavior of groups of individuals who act together without any planning or informed direction. Individuals often follow the group and try to fall in line with the opinion and behavior of the crowd. This human behavior leads to them being compared to the herd behavior of animals. Herd behavior, also called as herd mentality or herd instinct, is a widespread tendency of people to do or behave as the crowd do. But here's the kicker, family. The origins of it. Look at what it says. The herd behavior in animals is predominantly seen when a group of animals flee from a predator. All right, but look at what it goes on to say. Right? Individuals become part of a group and resort to herd behavior when they feel they cannot voice their opinions alone. See, that's why we cause problems, right, Sister Gal? Because we can
Mm-hmm.
voice our own opinions. People have tried to get me to be boxed in and caught up with other people's opinions. Like, no, I don't need to do that. I can stand on my own too and explain why I don't roll with this thing over here, roll with that thing over here. Many of us, because that security, that false sense of security mechanism, they scared to just stand on their own too. They need
Mm-hmm.
to be part of a group so that way the group can bear the responsibilities and accountability.
Correct.
Any comments, Sister Carol?
We do that. We do this quite well. This is what we do. We will slide to whatever which way the group is more attracting or attractive rather to what they're thinking, and that's what they will sway toward and try to sway you over to them as well. If they're all going this direction, well, come on and come this way, and you're seeing something like, no, I don't want to do that. No, you have to do this. If you're not black, you don't vote for me. You're not black. Sway over here.
And
That
one
mentality.
of the key word that many of us have been subjected to and used it before, that's really connected to her behavior, is common sense.
Yes.
Common consensus, family. That's all common sense is, common consensus. What everybody think. Even though the scripture says there are ways that seem right unto men, but that way leads to what? Death.
Mm-hmm.
That is what? Those ways that seem right, that's common sense. The common consensus, right? And many of us have been programmed. Hey, do you have common sense would tell you? Okay, well, if we go over what common sense says, the common consensus,
Mm-hmm.
this is what everybody are doing. But then they'll
Correct.
tell you and confusing you by saying, so if such and such jump off a cliff, you gonna jump off them? Or if such and such jump in the lake, you gonna jump in the lake too?
Right.
I got popped in my mouth when I said, yeah, I'll jump in the lake with him. Got popped and put soap in my mouth.
And another thing I like to do with the herd behavior is drive in fear. If you plant fear into them, then they will gather and follow.
And look at this. I think this ties into what you just said. It says, in this way, an individual feels more secure
Mm-hmm.
being part of a group, as in the case of animals moving in a herd as a precaution against predators.
That's right.
And then it says here, by nature, man finds it easy to conform rather than being labeled as a dissenter.
Exactly. Exactly.
We see that right now. Family, I'm not going to go harbor on a number of things tonight because I can, but we got the proof. The proof is in the pudding. My old pastor, and one thing I keep quoting, he said, if the pain of change is greater than remaining the same, people would rather remain the same. That's why you have many of our brothers and sisters don't want to leave the church.
Mm-hmm.
That's why many of our brothers and sisters that call themselves leaving the church are still in church in this awakening.
Yes.
That's why many of our brothers and sisters don't want to embrace the ancient true Hebrew.
Right.
That's why many of our brothers and sisters are holding on to so many different things, because the pain of change is greater than remaining the same. They have invested so much money in that delusion. Come on, family. We all been there before. You have a pair of pants, a shirt that you spend all kinds of money to, and you know you can't wear that thing anymore. And you still try to do what?
Hold on to it.
You want to hold on to it.
Mm-hmm.
Bad relationship. You want to hold on to it. Why? Because you can't get it out your mind that it's a loss. You don't want to count your losses. Why? Because you invested so much in it, your time, your effort, and you just don't want to just basically just say, hey, you know what? I'm gonna count my losses. I'm good with it. I'm gonna move forward. So let's see here. It says this is the consequences of herd behavior. It says, in many instances, her behavior may have disastrous consequences when groups can go wrong, and the individual tends to lose his independence. Right, and it goes on to say, In the absence of an exchange of individual views and opinions, there is every chance for the group to commit collective blunders. Here's the kicker. When the herd behavior is spurred by emotions, it can lead to hysterical behaviors as seen in mob violence or violent group demonstrations, as you just pointed out, Sister Carol, the fear thing.
Mm-hmm.
To your point. Any comments, Sister Carol?
No, go ahead. You're right on point.
All right. Let's fast forward here. I'm not going to deal with the three kings here. All right. The slave patrol.
Mm.
Come on, family. The slave patrol. We're in that. We're back to the slave patrol, family. We never left, for the truth be told. But we're slave patrol. Let's see the pledge here. This is the pledge of a slave patrol. This is the oath. North Carolina, 1828. I state your name. Do swear that I will, as searcher for guns, swords, and other weapons among the slaves in my district, faithfully and as privately as I can, discharge the trust repose in me as the law directs to the best of my power. So help me God.
And they're still doing it today.
This is profiling, family.
Right. And this is herd behavior.
Exactly.
Because they're driving fear into who? We are the only group of people on the planet who, when they get in the car, we pray we don't see the police. Because of this herd fear mentality. Knowing full well we're not doing anything, but we got it implanted in our brain because we're thinking that something's going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. And before we continue, family, I didn't realize there's some super chats here. Let me show some love here real quick. I want to say peace and blessings to Milo. Thank you for the super sticker. Also want to, let's see, Vahana. Thank you for the super sticker as well. Shout outs to Measured Man. Preach, my brother. We get tired, grateful for people such as you, exhausted. I really appreciate it, my brother. Thank you for the super chat and just your comments, because we're tired, man. And that's exactly what Christ was saying about the people. That's how Israel going to be mourning after the great tribulation, because we're going to deal with another set of afflictions, and we're going to just feel like we're by ourselves. And mourn in that particular text simply means that we're cutting ourselves off from everything. We're just tired. And are we not saying it right now? We're just cutting ourselves off. So we exhausted, but guess what? Be not weary in well doing. We still have to hold on to that. That we're tired, but we got to just continue as Christ did in the Garden of Gethsemane. The scripture says he went a little further, and we got to press a little further. But appreciate you, my brother. Be encouraged. Be encouraged. We definitely understand. Relevant love, Galatians 1:4, who gave himself for our sins that he might deliver us from the present evil world, according to the will of Yah and Father. Ethiopian Bible. Yeah. He who gave himself for our sins, and Paul even took it a step further. It's like when we keep reneging and going back, it's basically we're putting the Messiah back up again. We're going through the process all over again. But really appreciate the love and support. Thank you again. And last, I see a new one that just came in. Bertrand.
Bertrand.
I don't know. I keep wanting to read it like Bert and I keep doing that. But thank you for the love and support. Really appreciate the love and support that all of you guys have shared tonight. And family, let's show some love for all our contributors tonight. Really appreciate you guys. Thank you again. All right. Now, family, let's go to Revelation chapter 13, verse 16 and 17. And it reads, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead. Okay. Now look at what it says again. Let me read it again. And he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead. Now, does this look like they voluntarily doing this, family? We have been placed inside this beast system involuntarily. You were born and a social security card number was given to you. You was born, you got a birth certificate. You was born, you can't do anything right now. You can't even have insurance without credit, without them running your credit.
Right.
And I know many brothers and sisters have taken this thing that ran on this end time prophecy, eschatological approach of the mark of the beast being a chip that's going to be implanted in you. Family, you got chips all around. You got chips in your remote control. You got chips in your phone. You worried about a chip being planted inside you, but you got a cell phone. If you have a car, guess what? You got chips.
Appliances.
Exactly. So this is what this is saying right here. You're being forced into this system, whether you are voluntarily doing it or not.
Correct.
You can't get around it, family. All right. Let's see here. Verse 17. And that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. All right. Going back to the slave patrols. Again, in the revised 1688 version of this slave law, the burden of capturing runaways was explicitly placed on all white men. Doesn't it sound familiar? Everyone else can come and check us. They can play police officer. We see everyone dealing with the Karens and Kens, and because of what? They have the spirit of the slave patrol. That they can monitor us. They have to check on us. Because that's what this system does. Family, we already see how things are right now. Look, remember Ahmaud Arbery? How he was gunned down like an animal? And guess what happened? What added insult to injury was the Christian church. They raised almost $100,000 in a matter of hours, ultimately over $1 million for these perpetrators. Again, in the revised 1688 version of this law, slave law, the burden of recapturing runaways was explicitly placed on all white men, all masters, overseers, and other persons whatsoever, who were required to give wandering slaves with no tickets a sound whipping. No tickets, right? I know that we living in the culture, everyone want to say that you got receipts on. Hey, I got my receipts. This is where that receipt come from. Why? Because you want to ensure that you have what? Permission. And you know where they really program us with permission? In the classroom. With that hall pass, you got to go to the bathroom. And I remember when I went to school in Detroit, I was in a gifted and talented program. And make a long story short, it was just me and another kid, a black kid there. And I remember he had to use the bathroom. And the teacher made him sit there. And when he used, to the point that he used the bathroom on himself, and the students start laughing and mocking and picking on him. And guess what? I had to go to the bathroom. And teacher was waiting, told me to wait, and kept waiting. Guess what I did? I got up and walked out to class and went to the bathroom. And they, of course, tried to suspend me and all that stuff. Contacted my aunt and them, and they came to the school and they said, hey, we told them, if you got to use the bathroom, if the teacher won't let you go to the bathroom and they'll deal with you. But I'm saying all that to say, family, that's a control mechanism that we have to what in our mind, we got to have permission to do certain things. We see it right now. Most of our people won't receive this truth unless it's a Caucasian giving it to you.
Correct.
See, family, if you go back in the videos and look at the videos where people are saying that we're the people of the book, notice when it's Caucasian saying it, oh, we got to protect that person.
Invite him to the cookout.
Exactly. But when it's your own brother and sister, you don't even, look, Mom, I made a rocket out of macaroni noodle. And we lock in with that contradictory behavior, cognitive dissonance, Stockholm syndrome, protecting, and then, of course, the herd behavior.
Mm-hmm.
But look at here. They said here, who were required to give wandering slaves with no tickets a sound whipping and detain them until the owner could retrieve them. The law now mandated that bondsmen have passes when leaving their plantation. Right? The hall pass again.
Mm-hmm.
And look at what it says here. The entire white community functioned under the law as a collective police force.
Wow.
Let's go to another section here. Look at this here. Southern whites feared their slaves and needed mastery over them. Doesn't that sound like Exodus chapter 1?
Mm-hmm.
They were fearful of our ancestors. And believe it or not, you go back there, the Pharaoh was like, hey, look, I'm going to empower everyone within the community. You know what? If you see an Israelite boy 2 years and under, you get to kill him. You're empowered to kill him. You could toss him just like they toss them out like they were trash. Doesn't that sound familiar, family?
Yep.
That's in the scriptures. So look at here, the beginnings of a formal, organized, and public slave patrol system in the antebellum South can be traced to the private, informal, and sometimes voluntary efforts of Spanish and individual colonists in the New World had to experience difficulty controlling their slaves before the rest of the white community would intervene to help restrict slave behavior. Goes on to say Spaniards might entice English colonist slaves to freedom by giving bondsmen a safe haven as runaways, or by encouraging them to act as column forces during battle. And this is when you start getting into understanding Spanish Florida until they sold it to the colonies. Right? Go ahead, Sister Carol.
Go back a page. See where it says individual colonists in the New World?
Yeah.
It's letting you know that we've been living in a new world order. All this is part of the order.
Exactly.
To do this to us. We've been living it the whole entire time. So it's nothing coming of the New World Order. You're already in the New World Order.
Come on. Come on, family. Come on, family. Oh, I gotta do my clip here. I gotta make sure I create. I keep forgetting to create. I'm not gonna let the cat out the bag on that one. I would use it right now for that. But think about it, family. See, we are and have been programmed to waiting for something to happen that have been in full steam.
We
keep saying the New World Order. The New World Order, it's been here. Actually, the proper clarity is the renewed world order.
Mm-hmm. Right.
All they're doing is putting some additional rims on it. But to Sister Carol's point, in order to make the prophecies include this so-called church, they have to ignore the true suppression of the Israelites.
That's right.
The true Israelites.
That's right.
So you don't hear anything being accounted for with the transatlantic slave trade or the Arabic slave trade or the Indian slave trade or the Asia slave. You don't hear any of these things.
Correct.
in which no other community went through what we went through and the losses as well. So to Sister Carol point, we've been in it. Just like as I stated, many are waiting for the Great Tribulation to happen. What do you call what happened during the Transatlantic World War? Oh yeah, that's right. They call it a slave trade.
Mm-hmm.
To dumb it down. So you hit it right on the nail, Sister Carol. You hit it right on the nail. All right. Look here, family. Fugitive bondsmen cause reoccurring trouble for Spanish and Portuguese settlers. By 1520s, runaways already posed problems for Spanish authorities in colonial Mexico. Fugitives had to be hunted down, lest they inspire others to flee. Right? But look, here's another section I want to highlight real quick. Look at this here, family. The historian Richard Dunn has written that overseers were expected to keep the Negro cabins under close surveillance. Doesn't that sound familiar? Searching twice a month for stolen goods, clubs, even though they stole us, and wooden swords. Unlike in the Spanish colonies, few indications suggest that the white Barbadians used former bondsmen as slave catcher in the militia. The failure of privately paid slave catchers in the 1650s may have influenced the 1661 Slave Code, the first comprehensive law regulating slaves in Barbados. The new law shifted the job of slave control firmly onto the shoulders of who again? All whites, not just overseers. Because family, not every white person had slaves.
Right. And the question is, why did they have to do all of this? What was going on that made them so fearful of had to have control with all these laws in place just for us? Because it was more of us over here than it was of them. They brought so many of us over here that we had populated this country so that they feared for their lives. So they had to put some type of tactics in place to keep us in control.
And to that point, family, if you look at South Carolina, if you go back and study it, South Carolina early on, right, you had a community of about 4,000 white people or Caucasians, right? And you had over 50,000 slaves being controlled.
Correct.
So what they would do, right, just to try to encourage Europeans to come, because they were when you start understanding the Gullah Wars that lasted over 100 years, like they would say today, they were getting the big breaks beaten off of them. So they had to lie. They would have publications lying, sound like what we're dealing with today, lying about the actual conditions and trying to giving the impression that they're winning.
Mm-hmm.
To Sister Carol's point. So that's what they're doing, family. That's what they were doing. And to her point, you had a lot of it was common on the plantations. You see 200-300 slaves being controlled by 4 or 5 people.
Exactly. Which is crazy. Which goes back to those definitions we talked about. The cognitive dissonance, the Stockholm syndrome, their herd mentality. It was enforced into our brains to control us.
Absolutely.
And had we not had that, we would have overtaken them. They don't want us to rise up.
Exactly. But who undermined many of the what you want to call it, insurrections? Our own people.
Own people, the snitches.
Because of what's that law? The manumission.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
What is called the full term? Meritorious manumission.
Yep, that's it.
Hey, if you tell us that insurrection is going to happen and it happens, then we'll free you.
That's right. That's it.
In most cases, they ended up killing them too.
Exactly.
Meritorious manumission. That's look it up, family.
And when doing it all, just think about everybody who's been killed. Martin Luther King,
Yeah.
Malcolm X, Medgar
Yeah.
Evers.
Yeah.
He knew all of them. A Negro snitch was there. That's
It
what
made
we
me
do.
think of Clarence Thomas.
that one. Always.
So, family, look at this again. Constables and other white Barbadians shared responsibility for apprehending runaways who managed to flee their plantation. Deuteronomy 28:49. Look at what it says here, family. Yahweh shall bring a nation against thee again. We read this, but against thee from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle fly, excuse me, whose nation, in other words, language or tongues, thou shalt not understand. In other words, discern. And you see the Hebrew word here, lashon, which transliterates to tongue or language, and shama'ah, which means understand, discern. All right. Again, you guys know the sheet music here. I'm not going to go into that. But look at there. I mentioned in Exodus chapter 1, right? Verse 7. Look at how it ties into it. The children of Israel were fruitful and increased abundantly, and multiplied, waxed is exceeding mighty, and the land was filled with them. All right. Let's continue here. Who were these slaves? You guys already know. Who are those? Who are those slaves that that the Egyptians had as slaves? They're Negroes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, family, you know I pull this source out from time to time, but every now and then it's good to do that refresher. It's Dr. Samuel Morton, Crania Egyptica, 1844. He analyzed over 700 craniums. Right? He says here if it be allowable to make these data the basis of calculation for the past 35 centuries, it will follow that upwards of 10 millions of Negroes have been brought as bondsmen into Egypt during that period. They don't want you to talk about this right here. They don't want to deal with this right here, because if you leave it up to the 1948ers, they try to say that they were enslaved in Egypt, even though just when you deal with their anatomy, doesn't even remotely suggest that or confirm that. You can prove it with their anatomy. Am I right, Sister Carol?
That's right.
So the vast influx of Negroes into the valley of the Nile must necessarily have left its impressions on the physical traits of the Egyptians themselves in the modern times, as seen in the Copts and more distant periods, as proved by Negroid heads in which the configuration and expressions are too obvious to be. So what they're saying here in this image right here, they're saying that like the Egyptians had relations with the Negroes that they had enslaved, which caused them to start looking like they're Negroes. That's what they're trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But again, he said, but it may be inquired, how does it happen that Negroes of their descendants should be found in the catacombs if they constitute a monadial or slave caste in Egypt? So he's saying, wait a minute, these Negroes that's enslaved here, wait a minute, how is it that I'm seeing the same craniums in Egypt? That's what he's saying, family. He's trying to make sense of how is this possible? Unless there's what? A slave caste system in Egypt. Look at what he says here. Negroes were numerous in Egypt, but their social position in ancient times was the same that it now is, that of servants and slaves. Now, family, we can also further knock this down, right? Let's go here and let me zoom in paragraph 9 here, real quick here. You know, a group of people, the Scythians, that's really connected to the Khazarians, that's connected to the Vikings, that's connected to the Scythian Jots, that's connected to a whole group of people.
Connected to the football.
Exactly. And look at what it says here about them. The national characteristics of all these families of men are distinctly figured on the monuments, and all of them excepting the who? The Scythians and Phoenicians have been identified in the catacombs.
Mm.
But they want to tell you that they were enslaved there.
Correct.
How? Why don't we see a single skull there?
And they can't produce it either.
They can't produce it.
Mm-mm.
They're making up stuff, family. So we have the receipts here, family. Like going back to that slave doctrine, we got the receipts. We got the ticket. We got the golden ticket. Anyway. So family, we got to make sure that we see what's happening here. And that's why I'm going through this here. Right. And one of the things, as we get to this last point here, this is one of the things that some of you guys that have been in this awakening for quite some time, you probably heard this before. I know Sister Carol we had to deal with this early on when I was strictly on Facebook, and then transitioned over here to YouTube. When Sister Carol saw what was going on, it was like, hey, you need to go over to YouTube. Over on YouTube, Sister Carol tell you, we were dealing with all kinds of attacks. All kinds of attacks. And this is one of the things that you hear about Deuteronomy 28:68. You say that you're Israel, and Yahweh Elohim is going to bring you into Egypt again. Then why are you in the United States and not in Egypt? Have you guys heard that before?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that is a deep question. I'm like, what? And my DMX voice like, what? Jigga what? I say jigga.
All right, Jay.
So you say that you're Israel, and Yahweh Elohim is going to bring you into Egypt again. Then why are you in the United States and not in Egypt? Deuteronomy 28:68 is what they're referring to, right? Now, this is the KJV version right here. And Yahweh shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again, and there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. Make a note of that word there, family. Quana, buy you, redeem, right? No man shall buy you. Right. So when you see bondmen and bondwomen, you'll still see the same word, abada, right? Abada yam. Okay. But anyway, Yahweh will send you back into ships to Egypt, right? This is coming from the NIV. On a journey. Yahweh will send you back in ships to Egypt on a journey. I said you should never make again. There you will offer yourselves for sale to your enemies as male and female slaves, but no one will buy you. On a journey, huh, Sister Carol?
Mm-hmm.
Make me think of Rakim. This is a journey. Anyway. So look at here. This is the Message Bible. Yahweh will ship you back to Egypt by a road I promise you never see again. There you'll offer yourselves for sale, both men and women, as slaves to your enemies, and not a buyer to be found. Okay? So let's break this down real quick. I'm not going to deal with journey. And let me fast forward for the sake of time, because this is a very detailed presentation. As you see, we just on slide 53. Right? You know, Sister Tara, I go in, man. When I'm dealing with this, I go in. Right. So, but let's fast forward, family. Let's go down to Revelation chapter 11. Look at this. And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt. Come on, family. Spiritual Egypt, spiritual Sodom. Okay, that is key, family. We're not dealing with the same Egypt. We're not dealing with the same Sodom, but we're seeing what? The Sodomite tendencies. We're seeing the the bondage of the Egyptians. We know that the Most High made a promise in Exodus, I believe, chapter 14. Actually, and it is, I quote it all the time. I say, I believe. Exodus 14, 13 and 14, when it says, fear ye not, stand still, see the salvation of Yahweh. These Egyptians that you see here today will not have power over you ever again. The Most High will fight for you, but we have to do what? Hold our peace, right? He never said that the Egyptians will be completely blotted out, but he's saying that they will not have what? Power over us again. Right. And we have a number of situations when we're reading, for example, the book of Isaiah, right? The book of Isaiah, you'll see Judah constantly tried to enter into agreements with the Egyptians out of fear of the invasion of the Assyrians. All right, here it is, family. What was the backbone of the Egyptians' army that Yahweh destroyed? Guess what, family? It was their horsemen, their chariots and their horsemen. That was like their special forces. So though the Egyptians were defeated, yet Israel continued to give life to the Egyptians' defeated spirit. All right, let's prove it here. All right, let's prove it here. All right, we already know what this is. Again, bring ye all, shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. But going all the way down here to where it says, for bondmen and women, bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. All right. So basically what this means is Quana means, as I pointed out, it means purchase, recover. It means redeem. Now, family, if we're not careful, we can look at these systems of men as being a redeemer. Come on, all of us been there before. You're looking at a job and, you know, man, if I get this job, man, it's going to change my life, man. It's the money that I can make and this and this and that. And you start treating that job as if it's the end all be all, right? You know, oh man, it's looking really good. Man, I met with the managers and all of that. I went through 3 interviews and narrowed down. They said, hey, man, I know I got it, but man, it's going to change my life. And what happened? Well, you know, we decided to go with another candidate. Hey, I dealt with that, family. We all dealt with that before.
Yep.
Because we were treating that position as if it was a type of Messiah to you. Like it was going to take you out of, it was going to solve all your generational curses and all your territorial curses and all the stronghold, all those things. All right. Some of us went into the military and other things, taking pledges to hoping that we can change a way of life. Went to college, whatever the case may be. They are a tool, but we're not supposed to idolize them. The Most High bless you with things, and you reverence those things He blessed you with more than the person that blessed you with it. Him. All right. So anyway, look at here. Quana, right? To procure, especially by purchase, by implication, to own, attain, buyer, redeem. So in the scriptures, Egypt symbolizes the world. Okay. And this is what I pointed out, Exodus 6:6 as well, when it says, I will redeem you with a stretched out arm, right? When I initially mentioned Exodus 6:6. So redeem means to avenge, deliver, purchase, ransom, redeemer, revenger. You see the word Ga'al. Some will pronounce it Gala. All right. All right. But let's go to a key point here. All right. Deuteronomy 28:68 is a prophecy that serves as a reminder that there is no salvation, no redemption in the systems of man. All right. I'm not going to go through the Civil War. I could go into all of that, family, because I know it's getting a little late. So I don't want to go too long here, but I want to get to a key point here. I'm not going to go through Abraham Lincoln. I'm not going to go through in the beginning, the Most High created the heavens and earth. I'm not going to get into all that, but I want to get to a key point here, right? Right. Because we know Abraham Lincoln didn't do anything for us. We know that when we really study the history of all these different things that was supposed to be for us, many cases they disguised it and it was really for themselves. All right. Let's go to Isaiah. Is this the one I want to go to? Let's see here. Now we're going to go to Isaiah 31. This is where I want to go to, fam. Actually, we'll go to Isaiah 30 to bring it home on Egypt, right? Spiritual Egypt, and how, offering ourselves, in other words, entering into agreements, offering our services as collateral, hoping that doing so is going to resolve the issues that we're facing, the judgments that we're facing. All right. Isaiah 30, verse 1 through 3. Woe to the rebellious children, saith Yahweh, that take counsel, but not of me, and that cover with a covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin, that walk to go down where Egypt family, and have not asked my mouth to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh, and to trust in the shadow of Egypt. So when it says the shadow of Egypt, it's saying that these guys have no power. Trust in the shadow of Egypt, right? Therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt your confusion. Are we not seeing that right now? Many are what? Are ashamed of what? Supporting these politicians, ashamed of supporting these governmental systems. We're supposed to be what? The strength of Egypt here. And the trust in the shadow of Egypt, your confusion. All right, let's fast forward here. All right, let's get to another path. Isaiah 31, 1 through 3. Look at here. They didn't listen. Look at what it says here. Woe to them that go down to Egypt for help and stay on horses and trust in chariots. So now they're trusting in what? Egypt's special forces, because they are many, and horsemen, because they are very strong. But they look not unto the Holy One in Israel, neither seek Yahweh. Yet he also is wise and will bring evil, and will not call back his words, but will arise against the house of the evildoers and against the help of them that work iniquity. So let's go here. Let's fast forward here. I'm going to explain all of this here. Right? This is the key here. Isaiah, going back to Isaiah, but we see Isaiah 31, verse 3. Look at what it says here, family. The Egyptians are men, not Elohim. Your translation is going to say the Egyptians are men and not God. Wait a minute. MAGA? Remember, family, MAGA is made into what? A religion. People actually worship Donald Trump. MAGA is also the name, the label, the title of a witch, the title of a warlock. Especially when you understand the Church of Satan. But look at here. Now the Egyptians are men and not Elohim. Your transliteration are going to say not God. And their horses, flesh, not spirit. In other words, saying that there's nothing special about them. When Yahweh shall stretch out his hand, both he that helpeth shall fall, and he that is hoping shall fall down, and they shall fail together. All right. Let's see here. I'm just fast forwarding here, seeing what else we have here. Here's the final point, family. The reason why it says that the shadow of Egypt, right? Remember, they exist, but they have no power. Son of man, I have broken the arm of Pharaoh, and this sounds like a joke when you read it, the king of Egypt, and lo, it shall not be bound up to be healed, to put a roller to bind it, to make it strong to hold the sword. Therefore, thus saith Yahweh Elohim, behold, I am against Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and will break his arms, the strong and that which was broken, and I will cause the sword to fall out of his hands. Look at what it says here. I will scatter the Egyptians among the nations, and will disperse them through the countries. I thought I had the other the continuation here, but basically what it was saying here is that even if our people continue to try to repair their arms, he said he's going to break it again. Right? He says he's going to keep breaking it. You know, let me see here. I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. But basically, when you read the entire chapter of that I made reference to in Ezekiel, going back here, chapter 30, you'll see the Most High is like, look, you know, you can fix, you can put splints in his arm, you can do all of that. He said he's going to break it again. All right, family. I know it's a lot, man. So I read that for a reason. We have to stop putting this trust in these governmental systems, these politicians, all these different things, and realize we have to put our trust in the Father through his Son. We got to get back to the basics, family. In other words, we have to start looking from within. We have to get rid of that Stockholm syndrome and all that other stuff, man. But anyway, any comments, Sister Carol? I know we covered a lot.
Yeah, I was going to say to what you're saying about the politicians. Remember, they pledged an oath to the government, not to you. They pledged
Absolutely.
an oath to uphold the Constitution of the country. It has absolutely nothing to do with you.
Absolutely.
And we have to get
Absolutely.
that in our brain to understand that. We have not conceptualized oaths and pledges.
Yeah.
We have to really understand that. And they are not working on our behalf.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Family, we really appreciate you guys. You know, even though we're getting ready to conclude this this live, you know, go into the comment section, post a comment there, share this video on your channel. That's the way that we at least can try to break this algorithm. Because when I say they doing some wicked stuff, family, they're doing some wicked stuff. Sister Kara, I uploaded a Candace on video, and that video didn't even go have 4,000 views.
The one you did the other day?
Yeah.
Yesterday? Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's how they suppressing it. And as I share with you guys, they canceled my Cash App. They gave
That's
me
crazy.
a strike off of the Kanye West, but they doing all kinds of stuff. With Kanye West is simply reading the anti-Semitic laws.
How can they cancel your Cash App? It has nothing to do with YouTube. That's
I'm trying to
crazy.
stop, man. I'm telling you, man. All of this stuff happened. I mean, literally, when I shared that video, really this past week, they really been trying to get me. Remember with the whole Lego thing, and they've been trying to get me.
I just show you how the tentacles of their power.
Yeah.
They can go in different platforms that have nothing to do with each other and disrupt it.
Yeah.
These people are wicked.
Yeah.
No bounds.
Yeah.
That picture says it all.
But you know
Crafty
what,
counsel.
family? Go ahead, Sister Karen. I'm sorry.
I'm just saying the crafty counsel. You really see the crafty counsel up close and personal.
Yeah. 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 Any final words, Carol, Sister Carol, as we wrap up?
We have to come within. We just have to come back within, come back to the grassroots. If we can go back to 1960, 1970, when we were all about ourselves, that's the mentality we need to have.
Absolutely. Absolutely. As Harry Belafonte pointed out, Martin Luther King had some regrets.
Yeah, he did. Very much so. It was too late.
Yeah. Yeah.
Johnson screwed us. It was a whole plan.
Yeah. Yeah. So with that being said, family, in the words of anything else, Sister Carol, were you good?
No. Go ahead.
All right. All right, family, in the words of Yahweh, the words that he gave to Moses in Exodus chapter 14, verse 13 to 14, when Israel was ready to go return back to Egypt, because of the dead end and the Egyptians were gaining ground on them. The Most High gave this message to Moses to give to the children of Israel. Exodus chapter 14, verse 13 to 14. Fear ye not, stand still, see the salvation of Yahweh. These Egyptians that you see here today, they will not have power over you again. The Most High will fight for you. But here's the kicker, family. We have to hold our peace. Can't go back, can't stay here. Keep moving forward. Shalom.
Listen, Genesis chapter 11, verse 10 explains the genealogy of Shem. Shem was a black man in Africa. If you repeat this back, Genesis 14, verse 13, Abraham steps on the scene. Being a descendant of Shem, which is a fact, means Abraham too was black. Abraham, born in the city of a black man, called Nimrod, grandson of Ham. Ham had 4 sons. One was named Canaan. Here, let me do some explaining. Abraham, Isaac was Jacob had 12 sons, for real, and these were the children of Israel. According to Genesis chapter 10, these were the children of Israel. According to Genesis chapter 10, these were the children of Israel. According to Genesis chapter 10.